The journey battling psoriasis, eczema, rosacea, and skin disease in general is not very publicly understood. I know just speaking from experience, it's something that is very hard to talk to people, and usually it's just something that I like to keep to myself. But as we go forward and more cases start to be found all over the world, we seem to have reached a point where the medical community is offering one solution and the holistic health community is offering another solution. Today, I want to go through both these solutions, the pros and cons of each solution, and which ones may be better for you. So I'm going to start off with medical. So we have the pros and the cons. So the first pro is short-term satisfaction. And short-term satisfaction is pretty much you with when you get an injection or you get a new steroid cream, you have that short-term satisfaction of seeing the next day, having the problem dealt with, and just being able to go about your day. It's that's pretty much what it is. With this next point I have here is possibly cost effective. So by that I mean it depends on your medical coverage. So for example, in Ontario, Canada, we have OHIP, and there was a new policy put in place in January 2018 where anyone under the age of, I believe it's 24, they were able to get access to prescription drugs at a lower price. It also depends on if you have insurance, maybe through your workplace or any type of personal health insurance, where they cover prescription creams, so you essentially get it all at a discounted price, which makes it cost effective. The next point I have is less planning. So we all know that time equals money. So the more time you have to spend planning out how you're going to deal with this problem, it's more money potentially wasted that you could have spent doing something else, working, or even just, I guess, living your life. Less planning because you have the doctor there, you have the doctors prescribing you creams, you have a medical professional that's kind of walking you through it, so you kind of see them, I guess, it could be on a monthly basis or every few months to talk about the next approach. And that kind of follows into less commitment, because since you have the doctors kind of committing themselves up to a certain point, you pretty much have to meet them halfway. So they give you the creams, it's really just up to you to apply those creams. Everything is given when you get the prescription cream in the bottle. It gives you the dosage, it gives you the recommended period. For me personally, my doctor never really gave me the period that I should have been using this cream for. She kind of just gave it to me with the dose and said just use it as long as it works, which I'll talk about later on when I go through these points, is not very beneficial. The last point I have here for pros is it's simple. So it being simple ties into the less planning, the less commitment. It's simple because there's not much you have to think about. The doctor gives you the cream, you take the cream, or if it's an injection, whatever topical application, they give it to you and you apply it, you keep it with you, you take it with you. It's pretty simple. You just have to go and purchase it and make sure you have it on you whenever you're having a flare-up. Now let's get into the cons. So with the cons, we have the side effects. So there are a number of side effects. Those side effects include decreased healing, so the time it takes for you to heal from wounds or scars, for example. You could possibly have an allergic reaction, hyperpigmentation, and I had experience with hyperpigmentation. So I have melanin, my skin is a more brown complexion, so I noticed the areas I'd be applying these creams over time, these areas start to get lightened. So for example, on my arms, after maybe about half a year of use, when I first started using prescription creams, I would notice like little splotches where it was lighter than the rest of my skin. Even in the summer when I was outside, these would remain lighter versus like my regular complexion. We also have the addiction potential. So I'm going to just discuss that a little later, as I have that listed on here. That's its own thing in itself. And we also have thinning of the skin. Your epidermis does thin out when you apply these creams consistently over a long period of time. The thinning of the skin also could lead to, you know, worsening of your overall, the way that your skin looks, the tightness, the feeling. It might start to even wrinkle up, and it could lead to a host of other issues, and that includes burning. So when the skin starts getting tight, it might burn. It also starts to flake. So you're originally applying these creams to help with the flaking, but it might end up making the flaking worse. The next point that I have on here is TSW. This is a big one. Topical steroid withdrawal. It's still not very well accepted by the medical community. So topical steroid withdrawal is a problem within itself, which arises from the constant use of prescriptions, creams. Steroid withdrawal is pretty much, it's what it says. So when you stop using these creams, your body gets a dependence to it, and pretty much after it gets a dependence, when you stop using them, you go through withdrawals. Like, think of it as taking a drug. You know, when someone like a heroin addict or somebody who is taking crystal meth, they stop taking that drug and they get withdrawals, and withdrawals are really bad. You know, watch a video with somebody who went through drug problems and recovered, went through rehab, and they'll say, you know, it was just like dying. Like their body is feels broken inside, feels sick inside. And TSW is something that's becoming more and more accepted as we see more cases arise. You can find people, just search the hashtag TSW on Instagram. I'll post a link to a website that has, it's like a good hub for central information for TSW. Even some medical professionals are starting to recognize it, and I'm very thankful for that. They are putting policies in place to withdraw successfully from these creams, which include slowly weaning yourself off them. But yeah, TSW is a big one because you have your eczema, psoriasis, but then once you stop using the steroid creams, it's like the disease within the disease, or like, you know, it's like the next level. It's not even eczema, psoriasis no more. It's completely different skin condition within itself. And that I don't want to stay too much on TSW, so maybe I'll discuss that in another later video. So next point we have is HPA suppression, so hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis suppression. So the HPA is pretty much the feedback and the interaction between your hypothalamus, your pituitary glands, so both in your brain, as well as your adrenals. So that controls your hormones, and pretty much what this system does is it regulates your digestion, your immune system, amongst other things, like your mood. So for example, when you see drugs like Humira, which advertise that they have side effects that deal with depression, that's because when you look at its effect on your HPA, it suppresses it, so it alters the way that your body's having interactions to create your mood, which could kind of pull your mood down. And the mood is just one part of it. You know, the HPA, it's three components: two parts of your brain and then your adrenals with your hormones. So essentially you're suppressing that interaction, so you're potentially messing with your hormones, you're messing with the way that the chemicals interact within your body, and ultimately damaging your immune system. So that's why I have the next point listed here as health deterioration, because over time, as you consistently use these injections and these creams, even though you might be just applying it topically, you might be at that stage where you still think that this is a topical issue, this is an issue on the outside of my skin. But these drugs have interactions within your body. A lot of them, they suppress your immune system, they suppress your HPA, and once these interactions start being created, your body no longer is able to function the way it used to. When it constantly has these drugs that's suppressing it, it's no longer going to bring the levels up for your hormones, for your mood, even for your digestion, because as you're going to see when I talk about the holistic approach, this is a digestive issue. The next one I have, which kind of ties into what I was talking about before with the side effects and TSW, is addiction potential. So there is, as you saw with the withdrawals happen from addiction. So there is a huge potential there for your body to get addicted to these drugs, to these steroid creams. You know, these are drugs. You know, these are, you know, we live in a society where we look down on we have this war on drugs where we look down on people who use heroin, on people who use recreationally, who use crystal meth, but you're getting prescribed. Just because it's legal doesn't make it, you know, some super different situation. You're going to see your plug, you're getting a dosage, and you're taking that dosage, and over time, that once you keep upping that dosage, your body's going to get addicted to it. That's why you have the suppression of your immune system, the suppression of your mood, because your body's so addicted that it can no longer bring those levels up and operate the same way they used to. So it kind of needs those creams to keep it in check. The last point I have here is that this is a band-aid solution. It's only temporary. It's like a band-aid. It's just covering the wound. It's not actually, you know, doing anything, applying anything to actually get within the wound, stopping any potential infection. It's just kind of covering it to stop the bleeding. But, you know, you take the band-aid off, and, you know, you go and, for example, you have a bruise on your arm, you take the band-aid off and you accidentally bump it against a wall or something. It's going to start bleeding again, right? One thing I forgot to mention in terms of the side effects, there is a potency for each of these creams, the injections, whatever you use, whatever you've been prescribed by your doctor. So, for example, I use Betaderm, and I had experience with Dovabet as well. Those were the two that I consistently used for years. With the potency of these drugs, there's a class system from class 1 to class 7, with class 7 being the most potent. So you have, for example, hydrocortisone. We all know hydrocortisone. You know, sometimes you have a wound where you might apply it. Sometimes you have a scar or a bruise. You might, you know, your doctor or just a friend might tell you, you know, just put a little bit of hydrocortisone on that. It'll be better within a few days. So hydrocortisone is a class 7 steroid cream. So it's the least potent. And I experienced with Betaderm. The active ingredient in Betaderm is betamethasone valerate, and Betaderm is a class 3 steroid cream, and class 3 is only 2 below 1, so it's very close to the highest potency. And what do you get in any drug? When you increase the potency, you're just increasing the risk of potentially ruining your health. Okay, so now I'm going to go over the holistic approach. So when I use the word holistic, I'm pretty much talking about your overall lifestyle and how it interacts. So both your social environment, so everything around you, your interaction with your social environment, as well as internally, so physically, your physical health, as well as your mental health, and bringing that all together to create a system of healing to help promote overall good health, overall balanced health, and long-term sustenance. So the first point that I have here for the holistic approach is problem solved, set for life. So with the holistic approach, we're aiming to solve the problem, not apply a band-aid like with the medical. We are aiming to take a full-on approach, a full-on plan that's going to get rid of this disease and leave us good for life without having to worry about it. This is a huge benefit, and I'm sure that anyone who has skin disease, it sounds impossible, like, to do this without medical intervention. Next point I have is to resolve lingering health issues. So the good thing about the holistic approach is that when you actually start paying attention to your health, to your biomarkers, that you start to notice other problems that your health may have been impacted as well. So for example, let's say that you're struggling with obesity or addiction to refined foods, processed sugars. Once you start to take the holistic approach, which includes strict dietary modifications and changes, you will find that you will be shedding pounds. You will change your overall palate in the way that you respond to the flavor profile of foods, and deal with problems that weren't addressed before. So when you lose weight, you deal with your obesity, you deal with everything that comes with it as well. Because when you have weight loss and you're shedding unnecessary pounds, you're giving yourself enough room to maneuver internally, for your systems to properly cleanse themselves. Maybe they could have been clogged with toxins, all that build up from years and years of poor eating habits and other lifestyle other elements in your lifestyle. You also have an increased intake of essential nutrients. So a lot of us who eat the standard American diet, I'm in Canada, so standard Canadian diet, they are at a severe lack of nutrients. Whether that's iron deficiencies, low calcium, low minerals, lacking zinc, any mineral, you name it. We all have different issues that we deal with. We take our blood tests and our doctor tells us, this and this is weak, you need to bring it up. Well, when you take the holistic approach and you change your diet, you are bringing in a flood of nutrients, and all these nutrients are going to help you in the long run, and like I said, resolve lingering health problems as well, because all these nutrients are not nutrients, they're there for a reason. Certain elements like calcium, they always promote the calcium for the strong bones, iron for transporting oxygen, healthy fats to help you regulate your hormones. So for example, healthy fats from a source like avocados, whereas before you may have been eating your fats from poor sources like maybe processed meat, like a bunch of hamburgers with loads of cheese on it, processed cheese. And these fats, there's a huge difference between these fats and the healthy fats, like the fats from nuts, for example. So increased intake of the nutrients is going to get your body in check. It's going to give what your system has been what lets your system thrive in the long run. Next point I have here is you redefine your lifestyle. So as you can see with the holistic approach, you're changing your diet, and diet is kind of a huge part of our lifestyle. You're also redefining other aspects of your lifestyle. You're not just eliminating toxins from inside your body, you're eliminating the toxins from around you. So that could include poor relationships, bad relationships with friends around you who just may not be helping you improve your life, reach your goals. Being in an environment, where you're lacking sleep, you're not getting adequate sleep every night, overworking yourself, dealing with the job. Some people, it's the matter of stress. They redefine their lifestyle, so they go from, for example, they might graduate school where every day they're stressed out dealing with assignments, and they get into the job of their dreams, and suddenly they'll notice the symptoms, the flakes, the spots on their skin, they start going away. Well, why is that? It's because the stress is reduced, and the stress has an effect on our hormones. So as I said, with the holistic approach, you're looking at not only your internal, but you're also looking at your external. So in terms of the cons, there's a higher level of commitment required. So as you might have guessed, with regards to changing your diet, changing what's going on around you, there is commitment required. You don't have your doctor with you guiding you every session saying, look, I'm going to prescribe this is what you need, and you'll take this, just take this in the morning and night, and you're good to go. No, this is, you're planning, okay, how am I going to change my diet? What do I need to remove? What do I need to add in? What around me needs to be changed? Do I need to reduce the work hours? Do I need to maybe reconsider taking that overtime shift every day? Should I reduce my partying? A lot of people, I was in the partying lifestyle, just a few years back, taking recreational drugs pretty heavily, drinking pretty heavily. The drinking itself dries out your skin, it messes with the liver, and the liver is one of those organs in the body that's important for detoxing and eliminating all the toxins that are coming inside you. Some of us are blessed with stronger bodies, stronger systems than others, but as you keep impacting these organs, keep impacting their ability to cleanse with just dirty foods, dirty substances, you're eventually going to wear them out. They're not going to be able to function the same way that they used to. So with that level of commitment, it could be also costly in time and money. So with regards to time and money, it can be a doozy, because you are essentially cleaning out your entire pantry and updating everything that you eat. You're You're spending the time doing the research about what is the best approach that you have to take. You could be losing money because you're losing those hours in your job that you work to get the proper rest that's needed. Rest is very important with recovering from skin disease. You have to start reconsidering your purchasing habits. Instead of buying a lot of those cheap processed box foods, you're going to be going into the organic section for organic produce, in season fruits. And in another video I would like to actually talk about that, because it does sound costly at first, but you also need to look at it another way. Is this is going to definitely be impactful in terms of the short term, but in the long term, when you're looking at the time and money that you're going to have to spend with visiting your doctor, and also just spending that time, going to get the creams and everything, is it really worth it? That's what you have to ask yourself. The next point I have here is letting go of habits. I'm just sipping this Cleaver's tea. Little side note, Cleaver's is very good for detoxifying your system and cleansing it. So yeah, letting go of habits. We all have habits, and we all know that habits can be very hard to let go of. For me, it was the partying. Over time, though, I realized what I wanted in life. For you, it might not even be partying, but it could still be using substances. It could be hanging out with people who always like to go out to these restaurants and eat these trash foods that are going to damage your system, are not good for you, and are going to back up your digestion. Other bad habits include just, overeating and not working out, not getting that essential movement every day to get your circulation going, get your cardiovascular system in good shape. Some of us have habits where it's hard to go to the gym. It's hard to make that step to get to the gym every morning. These are amongst other habits, I don't know, it's whatever is specific to you, that are going to you're going to need to take a step back as an adult, or maybe if you're doing this for your children, whatever habits they have, you're going to need to take a step back and be honest with yourself and say, is this habit helping me, or is it hindering me? Next, we have the recovery process. So, the recovery process, it could be very long. Some people, they get lucky. They remove gluten from their diet, and then within 2 weeks, the spots start clearing up. Others, like I said, they just switch from a stressful situation, from school, maybe a rough job, they go to something better that they enjoy, and that reduction in stress, it helps them within the first month. But ultimately, the recovery process could be, and for a lot of people it is, anywhere from 3 to 4 months, but up to a year. And that year, it's usually a solid year. So a solid year of you strictly dealing with this skin disease, or psoriasis, or eczema, or rosacea, and being serious about it, disregarding other aspects of your life, disregarding the money you make and the job that you have, disregarding the friends that you have, disregarding the friends that aren't supportive, disregarding the partying, disregarding the things that feel good in short term but they're really not. And the next point I have is the detox, which ties into recovery, and I have the detox capitalized with 2 exclamation points, because the detox could be very rough. I'm going to make another video with regards to the detox, but the detox is pretty much the first few months, because you're withdrawing from the steroid creams. You're completely changing the way your system functions, because you're introducing nutrients and foods that you never ate before. You're changing your approach to your lifestyle. You're maybe going to the gym more often. So this is going to have a huge impact. Your body's going to turn itself on and realize, okay, I could start cleansing again. I could start filtering again. I could go into overdrive mode, because what happened is you had the drugs that were suppressing your immune system. You had the foods, and you had the terrible processed foods that were clogging your system up. You had all these toxins that were holding your body back from truly operating the way it needs to operate, and it was meant to operate. And now that it has a chance to, it's going to go into overdrive. All the toxins that are inside your body are going to pretty much exit out. So for some people, they can't handle it, because when those toxins exit out, they eliminate through the skin. Your skin will get worse before it gets better. So the detox, it's definitely a hell of its own, a long road, and it's very rough. So I could understand why someone may not want to go to a holistic route due to the detox, but you have to look at it. You have to look on the other side of the hill. The second last point I wanted to talk about is lack of medical data and doctor support. So with regards to lack of medical data, it's because it's kind of hard to take people, a group of people, track every single specific food that they're eating and track that over a long-term period. So like I said, their recovery could be up to a year. It's kind of hard to track and measure the results of every single food during breakfast, lunch, and dinner, what it's doing to their skin, what's it doing to their bodies. It's, I guess, a lot easier for pharmaceutical companies to test the drug out, test it in a lab, test it on, I guess, lab rats, test it with a select set of people, because they don't need to worry about all the other factors of what are they eating. They're just looking specifically at that drug. In terms of doctor support, doctors only take a maximum of 20 hours of nutrition training in school. And knowing what I know about food now and the relation with food and medicine, it's startling to say the least. So when doctors they aren't able to draw that link between what we eat and our overall health, they're not gonna be able to help you. They're only gonna be able to prescribe drugs and injections as a temporary solution. So for example, with my doctor never asked me about what I was eating every time I came in and said this spot's been getting worse. She never even asked me if I was smoking or if I was taking drugs. She just said, this is a lifelong condition you're going to have to deal with. Here's another cream to take for it. The last point I have here is judgment. So you are likely to receive judgment from the people around you who don't understand. And as many of us who deal with this condition, who deal with psoriasis, eczema, rosacea, know, it can be hard to explain to people who just don't understand what we are going through. And it gets worse when we actually start taking our problems into our own hands and finding solutions, because you're going to get judgment from people. For example, let's say that you want to go out and get some drinks and you say, well, no, I can't. They'll just be like, well, it's just one drink. I'm sure it's not going to ruin your whole body. But really, when you're in a recovery stage, it can ruin your body, because your body starts becoming more sensitive now that it's getting the right nutrients that it needs. Even if you're going out, even if you're not going out with partying, if you're not doing drugs or drinking, let's just say they want to go grab a bite to eat, but they want to go to your favorite burger joint, and then you can't go to that burger joint. You can't even have the fries, because the fries have oils and a lot of processed refined oils, and the potatoes that they use, it's not just potatoes in those fries. They might be throwing other things in there that you don't know when you go out to eat. So you will receive judgment from people. I know when I dealt personally with mine, I took the plant-based approach, and I had uncles who told me, this is not gonna work, whatever. And the thing is, because you're detoxing, your skin is worse. So they're gonna be like, oh, this lifestyle, this clean eating you're doing, whatever you're doing, it's not working. But you have to trust the process and not be clouded by the judgment. One thing that I was able to learn is that the judgment from others allowed me to increase my judgment within myself. So I'm not the type of person who likes to judge others, but it allowed me to judge myself in a way that was more critical about what I was doing. So I was able to remove myself from the situations where I was being judged as much as I could. That's everything that I want to go through for today with regards to the pros and cons with both of the approaches, medical and holistic. I'd ask that you please reconsider getting that next cream, getting that next injection, going up from a class 5 to a class 3 steroid cream, and really look into the holistic approach, look into the benefits. And I know there's going to be a lot of sacrifices that you have to make now, maybe this whole year, but think of it as life is a long-term game, and think about all the other aspects of your life that are going to be benefited from eating clean, getting moving with your body, giving it the treatment it deserves, and how that's going to translate to your mental health, your physical health, and just the way that you deal with people around you. I hope that you got something from this video. If you didn't, if there's things I can improve on with regards to my presentation, please let me know in the comments. Please let me know if you'd like to see any more content like this, or specifically what you're looking for, and I'll see what I could do. That's it for today. Have a great day. Be back soon.
This is my shot, this is my shot. This is the way I walk, yeah, okay, alright. This is my shot, yeah, my shot. This is the way I walk, yeah.